The doorbell rang at afternoon on a Tuesday. I knew because I checked my watch, a reflex from years of logging everything in field reports: time, weather, tactical position. The sky was cloudless, temperature 78 degrees, wind negligible. I was in the garage, organizing my tools by size and function, the way I'd been taught to maintain equipment. Everything in its place. Everything accountable. The doorbell rang again. Mark was at work. The house was mine for another 3 hours, quiet, ordered, exactly as I needed it. I set down the torque wrench, wiped my hands on a rag, and walked through the kitchen. Through the frosted glass of the front door, I could see two silhouettes, one tall and stooped, one smaller, rigid with purpose. I opened the door. My father stood on the porch, thinner than I remembered, his shoulders curved inward like a question mark. Beside him, Patricia, his wife of 6 years, smiled with all her teeth. Behind them, on the driveway, sat a silver SUV with the rear hatch open. Suitcases, duffel bags, a garment bag draped across the back seat. "Surprise," Patricia said. I didn't move. My hand stayed on the doorframe. "Dad." "Son." His voice was hoarse, apologetic in a way that felt rehearsed. We've had a situation. We need to stay with you for a bit." Patricia's smile widened. "Just temporarily, of course, until we get back on our feet." I looked past them at the luggage, counted the bags. At least a week's worth, maybe 2. They hadn't called, hadn't texted. The last communication I'd received from my father was 4 years ago, a 2-line email telling me that family decisions had been made and I needed to respect boundaries. That email had arrived while I was on deployment in Kandahar, sleeping 4 hours a night in 110-degree heat. "You didn't call." "We wanted it to be a surprise." Patricia stepped forward, her perfume cutting through the air, something floral and cloying. "And honestly, darling, we didn't think you'd mind. You have all this space." She gestured past me, into the house Mark and I had spent 2 years renovating. "It's practically a waste with just the 2 of you." The ground under my boots felt like it was giving way. I stepped back. Not an invitation, a tactical retreat. Maintain distance, assess the situation. They interpreted it as permission and moved past me. Patricia first, already scanning the entryway with the sharp gaze of an appraiser. "Oh, this is lovely," she said, running her hand along the wall we'd just repainted. "Though I think a warmer tone would open it up more, maybe a cream. I know an excellent decorator." My father shuffled in behind her, avoiding eye contact. He set down a suitcase by the stairs, our stairs, in our house, and exhaled like he'd just survived something. "I'll get the rest," he mumbled, heading back outside. Patricia turned to me, hands on her hips. "Now, which room should we take? I assume you have a guest suite. Somewhere on the main floor would be ideal. Your father's knees, you know." I didn't answer. I was watching her movements, cataloging. The way she touched surfaces, claimed space. Reconnaissance. She was mapping the terrain, identifying resources, establishing a foothold. "The living room is through here?" She didn't wait for confirmation. Her heels clicked across the hardwood Mark had installed himself, board by board. I heard her open the patio door. "And a pool! Perfect! I've been dying for a place to do my morning laps." Compartmentalize. That's what my CO used to say when the situation went sideways, when the mission changed mid-op and you had no time to process. Box it, file it, function first, feelings later. I closed the front door and locked it. My father was still unloading luggage. Through the window, I watched him struggle with the heavy box, his face red with effort. He'd aged badly. The man who used to carry me on his shoulders now looked like he'd shatter under the weight of his own choices. I walked into the living room. Patricia was examining the framed photos on the mantel, pictures of Mark and I at our wedding, at the Grand Canyon, at my retirement ceremony. She picked up the one from the ceremony, studied it, and set it down facing backward. "So," she said brightly, turning to me, Let's talk logistics. Flashback, 4 years ago. The email arrived at afternoon. I was in my bunk, trying to ignore the sound of generators and the distant thump of artillery drills. My phone buzzed. I almost didn't check it. Communication from home had become irregular, strained, each message shorter than the last. Subject: moving forward. Son, Patricia and I have made family decisions. Your brother needs support right now, and we've decided to focus our resources there. We need you to respect our boundaries. This is what's best for everyone. Dad. I read it 3 times. Then I set the phone down, face up on my chest, and stared at the ceiling. Around me, men snored, shifted, dreamed of home. I felt the familiar weight pressing down. Not grief, not yet, just the slow, methodical process of sealing something off. A blast door closing. Compartmentalize. I didn't cry, I didn't call. I deleted the email and got up for my shift. My father came in with the last of the bags. He looked at me, then away. I know this is sudden. Sudden, I repeated. Patricia reappeared from the hallway. I peeked at the guest room. It's a bit small, but we'll make do. Do you have spare keys? I'll need one for my morning walks. The air in the room felt thin, pressurized. I could hear the grandfather clock in the hallway, my grandfather clock, the one item I managed to keep from the estate, ticking steadily, each second loud as a hammer. Why are you here? I asked. Patricia's smile flickered. I told you, darling, we hit a rough patch, just temporary. What kind of rough patch? My father cleared his throat. There were some financial setbacks. The condo we were renting was sold out from under us, Patricia interjected smoothly. Terrible timing. And your brother, well, he's been going through his own challenges. We didn't want to burden him. But you'll burden me? The words came out flat. Not anger, not yet, just observation. Patricia's expression hardened for a fraction of a second before the smile returned. Burden? We're family. Family helps each other. I looked at my father. He was studying the floor like it held the answer to a question he didn't want to ask. When did you plan on leaving? Oh, we'll know when the time is right, Patricia said. She moved towards the kitchen. Now, I'm absolutely parched. Do you have any herbal tea? I heard her opening cupboards, claiming territory. The tactical situation was clear. They weren't asking, they were occupying. I pulled out my phone and texted Mark, "We have a situation. Call when you can." Then I went upstairs to my office, the one room in the house with a lock on the door, and closed it behind me. I sat at my desk, opened my laptop, and began documenting everything. Time of arrival, afternoon. Stated reason, financial hardship. Observed behavior, presumptive occupation. No request for permission. Immediate territorial claiming. Assessment, this is not a visit. Outside my door, I heard Patricia's voice, cheerful and sharp. Is there a Whole Foods nearby? I'll need to pick up a few things. Your father's very particular about his breakfast. I opened a new folder on my desktop and labeled it simply, Evidence. Then I began uploading the security camera footage from the driveway, time-stamped, archived. The first entry in what I knew would become a long file. Patience is a weapon. And I had learned patience in the hardest school there was. The first 3 days were reconnaissance. I watched, I listened, I documented. Patricia had a routine. She woke at 6:30, made coffee in our kitchen using the expensive beans Mark special ordered, leaving the bag open so they'd go stale, then spent an hour on the patio making phone calls. Her voice carried through the sliding door she never quite closed. No, it's perfect, much bigger than I expected. Oh, he's being very accommodating. Well, he doesn't have much choice, does he? My father mostly stayed in the guest room. I'd hear him shuffling to the bathroom, back again. Sometimes I'd find him in the living room, sitting in the dark, staring at nothing. He'd look up when I entered, open his mouth like he wanted to say something, then think better of it. On day 2, Patricia rearranged the living room furniture.
I came home from a meeting with my VA counselor, a standing appointment I'd kept for 3 years, the anchor point of my week, to find the couch moved, the coffee table against a different wall, and my grandfather clock relocated to a corner where it barely fit. Mark stood in the kitchen, arms crossed, jaw tight. "She said it flows better," he said quietly. "I told her to wait. She said she was doing us a favor." I looked at the room, the space we'd carefully arranged over months, testing different configurations until it felt right. Now it felt like someone else's house. "Put it back," I said. "I tried, not you." I set down my keys with deliberate care. "I'll handle it." Patricia emerged from the hallway, holding fabric swatches. "Oh good, you're home. I wanted your opinion on curtains. These ones are so dated." The curtains were 6 months old. We'd chosen them together, Mark and I, after visiting.
We'd chosen them together, Mark and I, after visiting 4 different stores. "Move the furniture back," I said. She blinked, smile frozen. "I'm sorry?" "The living room. Put it back the way it was." "But it's so much better now. The flow, the energy." "This isn't your house." The words landed heavy. Patricia's smile twitched. My father appeared in the doorway behind her, looking pale. "Son," he said weakly, "she's just trying to help." "I didn't ask for help." Patricia recovered quickly. She laughed, light and condescending. "Darling, you're being sensitive. It's just furniture. Surely you're not so attached to—" "Move it back. Now." Silence. The grandfather clock ticked. Patricia's eyes went cold. "Fine." She set down the fabric swatches with exaggerated care. "If you're going to be territorial about every little thing, I suppose we'll just have to tiptoe around your feelings." She looked at my father. "Help me, Paul." They moved the furniture back. Patricia made sure every movement was theatrical, sighing, adjusting slowly, making it clear she was the victim of my unreasonableness. When they finished, she went to the guest room and closed the door just hard enough to make a point. Mark touched my shoulder. "You okay?" "I'm fine." "You're not fine. None of this is fine." I looked at him. Mark, steady, intuitive Mark, who'd learned to read the micro-expressions I'd spent years training out of my face. He saw everything I wasn't saying. "I need to document this," I said. "Document what?" "Everything." I headed to my office. Every conversation, every boundary violation, every presumption. He followed me upstairs. I unlocked the door, the only locked door in the house now, which hadn't gone unnoticed, and pulled up my files. "You're building a case," Mark said. "I'm being prepared." "For what?" I pulled up the security footage from the front door camera, showed him the timestamp, 14:47, their arrival. No phone call logged before that moment, no text, no warning. "They didn't come here temporarily," I said. "This was planned." Flashback, 6 years ago. I was home on leave when Dad told me about Patricia. We were in his kitchen, the house I'd grown up in, though it didn't feel like mine anymore. Mom had been gone 3 years. The house smelled different, looked different. "Her name's Patricia," he said, nervous, eager. She's really something. Makes me feel young again." I was happy for him, genuinely. He'd been alone too long, shrinking into himself. "That's great, Dad." "She wants to meet you. She's got opinions about things. Strong woman. You'll like her." I met her 2 days later. She was attractive, polished, 10 years younger than my father. She looked at me the way a jeweler looks at a stone, assessing value, checking for flaws. "So you're the military son." She shook my hand with a grip that was just a fraction too firm. "Paul talks about you constantly, the hero." Something in her tone made the word sound like an accusation. "Just doing my job," I said. And how long do you plan to keep doing that job?" "As long as I'm needed." She smiled. "Well, everyone retires eventually. What will you do then?" "I haven't thought that far ahead." "You should. Planning is everything, don't you think?" My father beamed at her like she'd said something profound. I didn't see it then, the way she was already calculating, measuring, deciding who was useful and who was in the way. I was young enough, stupid enough to think I was imagining things. 6 months later, they were married. I was deployed and couldn't attend. Patricia sent a photo, her in white, my father in a new suit, my younger brother standing beside them as best man. I wasn't in the picture. Present, day 4. The family meeting happened on Thursday evening. Patricia arranged it. She set the dining room table with place settings, made tea, even lit candles, like we were negotiating a business deal. "Shall we?" she asked, gesturing to the chairs. Mark and I sat on one side, Patricia and my father on the other, a clear line drawn. Patricia folded her hands. "I think it's time we discussed practicalities." "Practicalities," I repeated. "Living arrangements, finances, responsibilities." She pulled out a folder, an actual folder, prepared in advance, and opened it. "My father and I have been reviewing our situation, and we think the best solution is something more permanent." My father wouldn't look at me. "Permanent," Mark said carefully. "We'd like to move in properly, not as guests, but as residents, family." Patricia smiled. "Of course, we'd contribute where we can, but at our age and with the economy being what it is, we think a multi-generational household makes sense, don't you?" I didn't respond. I was watching my father, waiting for him to say something, anything. He stared at his hands. Patricia continued, "We've drawn up some paperwork, just preliminary documents, nothing binding yet, but we thought it would be good to establish some understandings about finances, about decision-making, about how the household will run." She slid papers across the table. I didn't touch them. "What kind of understandings?" Mark asked, his voice tight. "Well, for instance, power of attorney. Given your father's age and health, it would be prudent to have someone who can make decisions on his behalf, and since we'll all be living together, coordinating accounts might make things simpler. Joint access, that sort of thing." I felt something cold settle in my chest. This was it, the actual play. "You want access to our accounts," I said. "Not want, darling, need. If we're going to function as a household—" "We're not functioning as a household. You're staying here temporarily." "But temporary has become indefinite, hasn't it? And indefinite might as well be permanent. We need to be realistic." Realistic. I picked up the papers, scanned them. Legal jargon, but the intent was clear. They wanted financial entanglement. They wanted leverage. "Who drafted these?" "A friend of mine, a lawyer, very reasonable rates." "I'm sure." I set the papers down. "I'll need to have my own attorney review them." Patricia's expression flickered, irritation quickly masked. "It seems unnecessary. We're family. This is just a formality." "If it's just a formality, you won't mind me having it reviewed." "It will take time we don't really have." She leaned forward. "Your father needs stability, security. Surely you understand that." I looked at my father. He was crying, silent tears running down his face, his hands shaking. "Dad," I said quietly, "do you want this?" He opened his mouth, closed it. Patricia's hand moved to his arm, squeezed gently. A warning or a comfort, I couldn't tell. "He wants what's best," Patricia said, "for all of us." Mark stood up. "I need some air." He left the room. I heard the back door open and close. Patricia watched him go, then turned back to me. "He's upset, I understand. This is a lot of change, but change is necessary sometimes, isn't it? And really, darling, it's not as if you have much choice. We're here, we're staying, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, but either way, we need to move forward." The mask had slipped, just for a moment, but I saw it, the calculation, the certainty that she'd already won. I stood. "I'll get back to you." "When?" "When I'm ready." I left her sitting there, papers spread across the table like a contract with the devil. In my office, I opened my laptop and sent 3 emails. The
The first to Marcus Chen, a JAG officer I served with in Afghanistan, now practicing family law in Denver. Subject line: need advice on coercive living arrangement. The second to Sarah Brennan, a military buddy who transitioned to private investigation work. Subject line: background check, needed, urgent. The third to David Holloway, my financial advisor and a Navy vet who understood how to protect assets. Subject line: need to fortress my accounts, today. Then I pulled up the security footage from the front door camera. Our system had cameras throughout the house, Mark's idea after a break-in scare 2 years ago. I resisted at first, uncomfortable with constant surveillance. Now I was grateful. I isolated the audio, ran it through enhancement software, and saved 3 copies: local drive, cloud storage, and an external hard drive I kept in my safe. Patricia's voice, clear as glass. We can do this the easy way or the hard way, but either way, we need to move forward. Evidence. Mark came in an hour later. He sat on the edge of my desk, exhausted. They're not leaving. No. She's going to push until we break. Yes.
So, what do we do? I looked at him, at this man who'd stood beside me through flashbacks and night terrors, through the slow, painful work of rebuilding a life after service, who'd never asked me to be anything other than exactly who I was. We give them rope, I said. What? We give them enough rope to hang themselves. I pulled up my evidence folder, showed him the documentation, the timeline, the pattern of escalation. She's overconfident. She thinks I'm weak because I let them in. She thinks I'm too polite, too passive, too much like my father to fight back. You're not weak. I know, but she doesn't. I stood, paced to the window. Outside, Patricia was on the patio again, phone pressed to her ear, laughing about something. In the military, when you're dealing with an adversary who underestimates you, you let them. You observe, you prepare, and then when they've committed fully to their course of action, when they've left themselves exposed, you strike. Exactly. Mark was quiet for a long moment. Then, what do you need from me? Documentation, witnesses to conversations. If she tries to talk to you alone, record it if you can. If you can't, write down everything she says immediately afterward. Time, date, exact words. She's gonna know something's wrong. Let her. Paranoia makes people reckless. He nodded slowly. Then he pulled me close, pressed his forehead to mine. I'm with you, whatever you need. I know. But after this is done, we're getting better locks on all the doors, and maybe a moat. I almost smiled. Almost. Day 7. Patricia had been busy. I came home to find her in my office. The door, my locked door, was open. She was at my desk, my laptop open in front of her, clicking through files. What are you doing? My voice came out dead calm. She looked up, startled but quickly recovering. Oh, you're home early. I was just looking for the Wi-Fi password. Your father couldn't connect his tablet. The Wi-Fi password is on the router, in the living room. Yes, well, I couldn't find it, and I thought, how did you get in here? The door was open. No, it wasn't. Her smile was bright, empty. Well, it was open when I came upstairs. Perhaps you forgot to lock it. I never forgot. Not once in 3 years. I moved past her, checked my laptop. The screen was on my email, my personal email, open to a conversation with Marcus about legal options for eviction. She'd read it. Every word. You need to leave, I said. I'm going. No harm done, darling, just trying to help. She brushed past me, leaving a trail of that cloying perfume. I sat down, checked the file access logs. She'd been in the system for 12 minutes, had opened my financial records, my legal correspondence, my evidence folder. She knew. She knew I was building a case, and she'd just declared war. I picked up my phone and called Marcus. I need that advice now, and I need to know how to legally remove someone from my property who refuses to leave. How bad is it? DEFCON 2. I'll draft something tonight. Be ready to move fast. I hung up, closed my laptop, and sat in the silence of my violated office. Downstairs, I heard Patricia laugh,
high and bright and absolutely certain she was winning. She had no idea what was coming. Patience is a weapon, and my patience had just run out. Marcus's email arrived at 06:15 the next morning. Attached, formal notice to vacate. Colorado law gives you options, but they'll claim tenancy rights if they're there 30+ days. Move fast. Also, run that background check. Something feels off. I forwarded it to Sarah. She responded within an hour. Preliminary results attached. You're going to want to read this sitting down. I was already sitting down. I opened the file anyway. Patricia Lowell, née Patricia Ann Hendricks, married 3 times before my father. Divorce records in California, Nevada, and Texas, each marriage lasting between 2 and 4 years, each divorce settlement significant. But that wasn't the interesting part. The interesting part was the restraining order filed by her second husband in 2008, alleging financial coercion and forgery, the criminal complaint filed by her third husband in 2014 for identity theft, later dropped after an out-of-court settlement, the eviction notices from 2 separate rental properties for unauthorized occupancy of multiple additional residents. She had a pattern: find a man, move in, establish residency, entangle finances, extract maximum value, move on. My father was just the latest mark. I sat back, feeling that familiar combat calm settle over me, the one where emotion drains away and only tactical thinking remains. This wasn't personal anymore. This was a mission. I printed everything. 3 copies, 1 for my safe, 1 for Marcus, and 1 for my insurance. Then I went downstairs. Patricia was making breakfast. Eggs, toast, fresh squeezed orange juice arranged on a tray. She looked up when I entered, smile warm as sunshine. "Good morning. I thought you'd make your father something special. He's been feeling poorly." "Has he?" "Oh yes, I think the stress of the move has been hard on him. And if I'm being honest, I think he's worried about being a burden. You know how proud he is." I poured coffee, said nothing. "I was thinking," she continued, arranging napkins just so, "we should probably discuss household expenses, food, utilities, that sort of thing. I'd hate for you to feel like we're taking advantage." "That's considerate." "I try. We're family. Family takes care of each other." She swept past me toward the guest room. I heard the door open, my father's murmured thanks, Patricia's soothing response. Mark appeared in the doorway, still in his sleep shirt, hair disheveled. He looked at me with a question in his eyes. I showed him my phone, Sarah's report, condensed to bullet points. He read it, went pale. "Holy shit," he whispered. "Yeah. Your dad knows about this?" "I doubt it." "We need to tell him." "We will, but not yet." Mark set down my phone. "Why not yet?" "Because right now, she doesn't know that we know. That's an advantage." I moved to the window, checked the driveway. Patricia's SUV was still there, but I wanted to know if she'd been anywhere recently. I need her to make a mistake, a big one, something that gives me ironclad justification to remove them both. "She broke into your office. Isn't that enough?" "She'll say the door was open, say I misremembered, make me look paranoid. I need something undeniable, something she can't explain away." "So we wait?" "Not wait. Bait." Mark crossed his arms. "I don't like the sound of that." "You don't have to like it. You just have to trust me." He was quiet for a long moment. Then, "What do you need from me?" The bait was simple. That afternoon, I made a show of preparing for a trip, told Patricia and my father that Mark and I were driving to Santa Fe for a long weekend, an anniversary trip we'd been planning for months. I made it sound reluctant, haven't. "I hate to leave you both, but we've had this booked since January." Patricia's eyes lit up. "Oh, don't worry about us. We'll be perfectly fine. Won't we, Paul?" My father nodded mutely. "The house is yours. Just please be respectful of our space. Don't go through things. The office stays locked." "Of course, darling. We're not children. You two enjoy yourselves. Reconnect. You deserve it." We left Friday morning. Bags in the car, reservation confirmation printed out, every detail visible.
We drove exactly 15 miles. Then we checked into a hotel, the Marriott, off I-25. close enough to monitor the security cameras remotely, far enough to be convincing. Mark set up his laptop on the desk and pulled up the camera feeds. "I feel like we're in a spy movie," he said. "We are, except the villain wears too much perfume and commits financial fraud." Those were the worst Bond films. I almost smiled. We settled in to watch. Hour 1, nothing. Patricia moved through the house normally, made lunch, sat on the patio with her phone. Hour 3, she went upstairs, stood outside my office door for a long moment, tested the handle. Locked. She tried again. Then she disappeared into the guest room. Hour 4, she emerged with something in her hand, too small to make out on camera, went back to my office door. Mark leaned forward. "What is that?" The angle was wrong. We couldn't see clearly, but we heard the sound, metal scraping, the click of a lock turning. "She's picking the lock," I said. Jesus Christ. Patricia opened the door and went inside. Mark was already on his phone. Should I call the police? Not yet. Let her dig. We watched as Patricia moved through my office. She was methodical, careful, went straight to my desk, opened drawers, took photos of documents with her phone. She spent 10 minutes on my computer, tried to log in, failed, tried again. Then she opened my file cabinet. The one where I kept financial records, legal documents, backup drives. She pulled out folders, flipped through them, photographed pages. She was looking for something specific, account numbers, passwords, leverage. She found the emergency cash envelope, $3,000 I kept for genuine emergencies. She counted it, took half, put the rest back. "That's theft," Mark said. "That's evidence." Patricia spent another 20 minutes searching. Then she carefully put everything back. Not quite right, but close enough that someone not paying attention might not notice. She left the office, closed the door, and locked it again with whatever tools she'd used before. Back in the guest room, my father was asleep in a chair. Patricia sat beside him and made a phone call. We couldn't hear it, but we could see her expression, animated, excited. She's calling someone, probably her lawyer friend. Probably. We had it all. Time-stamped, high-definition video of breaking and entering, theft, invasion of privacy, saved to 3 separate servers. But I wanted more. Day 2 of the trip. Patricia got bold. She went through Mark's things, his dresser, his closet, his nightstand. Looking for what, I didn't know. Maybe more cash, maybe documents about his business, maybe just satisfying her need to know everything, control everything. She called a locksmith. We watched, stunned, as a van pulled up with a man with tools. Patricia met him at the door, smiling, charming. "This is insane," Mark breathed. "She's changing the locks on your house." Our house. The locksmith worked for an hour. Front door, back door, garage entrance. Patricia paid him in cash, my cash probably, and he left. She tested each lock, satisfied. Then she took a photo of the new keys and sent it to someone. "She just locked us out of our own house," Mark said. His voice was shaking, not with fear, with rage. "That's it, we're calling the cops right now." Wait. Wait for what? She's escalating. What if she destroys things? What if... She won't. She needs the house intact. She's establishing residency. I pulled out my phone, started texting Marcus. This is perfect. This is exactly what we need. Clear, undeniable evidence of malicious intent. She's not a confused family member. She's not a guest who overstayed. She's an intruder actively trying to steal our property. Marcus responded immediately. "Call me." I stepped outside the hotel room. He answered on the first ring. "Tell me you have video of this." Every second. Time-stamped, backed up, unedited. "Beautiful. File a police report now. Don't go back to the house yet. Let her think she's won. I'll draft an emergency eviction order and have it ready by Monday morning. The locksmith thing is gold. She's just handed you an open and shut case." "What about my father?" Marcus paused. "That's trickier. He's a victim here too, but legally he's still a tenant. We'll need to separate him from her in the documentation, show that she's the primary actor, he's just being manipulated." "Can you do it?" "Yeah, but you need to be prepared for him to side with her anyway. Abusers are good at keeping their victims loyal. I knew that. I'd seen it in combat zones, people defending the very systems that oppressed them because it was safer than fighting back. "I'm ready," I said. "Okay, file the report, sit tight, Monday we move." I hung up and went back inside. Mark was still watching the cameras, jaw clenched. "She's redecorating," he said quietly. On screen, Patricia was taking down our wedding photos, boxing them up, replacing them with generic art prints, the kind you buy at Home Goods. She was erasing us from our own home. Flashback, 8 years ago. My grandfather died while I was in Iraq, third tour, 18 months in, running night operations in Fallujah. The Red Cross message came through military channels. Grandfather deceased, funeral in 72 hours. I requested emergency leave, denied, mission critical. I called my father, satellite phone, terrible connection, his voice crackling through static. "I'm sorry, son. I know you two were close. I wanted to be there." He knew. He always knew. A pause. "He left you something, his service medal from Korea. He wanted you to have it. Tell him thank you." "I will." But my father never told him, because by the time I made that call, Grandpa was already gone. The medal, bronze star, oak leaf cluster, sat in my father's house for 2 years. Every time I asked about it, he said he was keeping it safe. Then he married Patricia. Then the medal disappeared. When I finally came home for good, retired and trying to build a civilian life, I asked again. "Oh," Patricia said brightly, "that old thing? We sold it. A collector offered quite a bit, nearly 5 figures. We used it for your brother's education. Didn't Paul tell you?" My father looked at the floor. "It was mine," I said quietly. "Well, yes, technically, but family assets should benefit the whole family, don't you think?" Patricia patted my arm. "Your brother really needed that money. Surely you're not so selfish as to—" I left, walked out of that house and didn't go back. That was 4 years ago. That was when I learned that some people don't see relationships, they see resources, don't see family, they see transactions. Patricia had been assessing me that whole time, measuring my net worth, calculating my usefulness, and finding me wanting. Sunday evening. We filed the police report from the hotel. 2 officers came to take our statements. I showed them everything, the video, the timeline, Patricia's background check. The older officer, a veteran himself going by the Navy tattoo on his forearm, whistled low. "Ma'am's a piece of work," he said. "We'll go by tomorrow, serve her with a trespass warning. You have every right to remove her." "What about my father?" "He's trickier. He's been there over a week. Legally, he might have tenant rights, but given that he hasn't paid rent and entered without permission," he scratched his jaw. "I'd recommend a lawyer. Get an eviction order. Do it by the book so she can't claim harassment." "Already on it." "Good." He closed his notepad. "Seen too many of these situations go sideways. People take advantage of veterans thinking we're too damaged or too polite to fight back. Glad you're not rolling over." After they left, Mark and I sat in the hotel room, CNN playing on mute, our phones buzzing with updates from Marcus. "Tomorrow," Mark said. "Tomorrow we take back our house." "Tomorrow," I agreed. But first, I needed to make one more call. I found my brother's number, the one I hadn't used in 6 years, thumb hovering over it. Mark noticed. "You calling him? He deserves to know what his education cost." He was a kid. He probably didn't even know. He's not a kid anymore. I made the call. It rang 4 times, then voicemail. "This is Tyler. Leave a message." I almost hung up. Then, "Tyler, it's your brother. Call me back. It's about Dad and Patricia. It's important." I hung up. Didn't expect a response. 20 minutes later, my phone rang. "Hello? What about them?" Tyler's voice, deeper than I remembered, but still familiar. "What's going on?" I told him everything. The surprise arrival, the manipulation, the background check, the locks. Silence on the other end. Long, heavy silence. "Tyler?" "She told me you didn't want anything to do with us," he said finally. His voice was shaking. "She said you were angry about the medal, said Dad was selling it, said you told them to leave you alone." I never said that. The email, Dad sent an email, written by Patricia, sent from his account. I'd bet money on it. More silence. Then, fuck, she's been isolating him for years. Every time I suggest visiting, she has a reason why it's not a good time. Every time I try to talk to him alone, she's there. His voice broke, I thought it was me, that I'd done something wrong. It's not you, it's her. That's what she does. The medal, Tyler said. I didn't know it was yours. She told me Grandpa wanted me to have the money for school. Dad just nodded along. I thought he was crying now. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. Something in my chest, something that had been locked down for years, loosened slightly. I believe you, I said. What do I do? How do I help? Monday morning, 9 a.m. Be at my house. Bring witnesses if you can. We're serving eviction papers and getting Dad out of there. I need you to be there, for him, not for her. Can you do that? Yes. Yeah, I'll be there. Tyler? Yeah? We're gonna fix this. He exhaled, shaky. Okay. Monday. He hung up. I looked at Mark. He was crying too, quiet tears running down his face. That was good. That was really good. One piece at a time. One piece at a time. We went to bed. I didn't sleep much. Spent the hours running scenarios, planning contingencies, preparing for every possible response Patricia might throw at us. By dawn, I was ready. This was it, the engagement. And I was taking back my ground. We arrived at dawn. The sky was still gray, the air cool enough to see breath. Marcus pulled up in his Lexus just as Mark and I parked across the street from our own house. Tyler's truck came around the corner moments later, and behind him, a police cruiser, the same veteran officer from the hotel, Officer Mendez, who'd volunteered to be present for the eviction. You assembled a task force, Mark said quietly. I assembled witnesses. We gathered on the sidewalk. Tyler looked sick, pale, hands shaking as he gripped his coffee cup. He met my eyes, nodded once. I'm here, whatever you need. Marcus pulled documents from his briefcase. Emergency eviction order, signed by Judge Morrison this morning. Trespass warning, restraining order petition. We'll file that after if needed. He looked at me. You ready? I looked at the house, my house. The windows still dark, Patricia's SUV in the driveway with those new keys sitting on her nightstand. The home Mark and I had built together, now occupied by someone who thought strategy meant cruelty and winning meant taking. She'd miscalculated. Let's go, I said. We walked up the driveway in formation. Officer Mendez first, then Marcus, then me and Mark, Tyler bringing up the rear. Military precision, overwhelming presence. I used my old key. It didn't work. Patricia's new locks. I'd expected this. Officer Mendez knocked. Loud, official. Police, open the door. Nothing. He knocked again. Police, we have an eviction order. Open the door or we'll open it for you. Movement inside. Footsteps. The curtain by the front window shifted. Patricia's face appeared, eyes widening as she took in the scene. 5 men on her doorstep, a police officer, legal documents visible in Marcus's hands. The curtain dropped. 30 seconds passed. Then the door opened. Patricia stood there in a silk robe, hair perfect despite the early hour, smile already in place. But her eyes were calculating, searching for angles, searching for leverage, finding none. Good morning, she said brightly. This is quite the welcoming committee. Is something wrong? Officer Mendez handed her the papers. Ma'am, you're being served with an emergency eviction order. You have 2 hours to collect your belongings and vacate the property. She didn't take the papers. I'm sorry, there must be a mistake. I live here. No, ma'am, you don't. You're an unauthorized occupant. The homeowners have documented your illegal entry and occupancy, including your recent changing of the locks without permission. He pushed the papers into her hands. 2 hours. Patricia's smile cracked. She looked past Mendez to me. Darling, this is absurd. We're family. Surely we can discuss this like adults. We're done discussing. Your father will be addressed separately. This order is for you. She looked at Marcus, sized him up, saw the expensive suit, the briefcase, the wedding ring that marked him as successful. "And you are?" "Marcus Chen, Mr. Brennan's attorney. You should consult your own counsel, ma'am." "I don't need counsel. This is a family matter." "No, ma'am. This is a legal matter involving breaking and entering, theft, illegal lockout of property owners, and attempted financial fraud. We have video evidence of all of it, time-stamped and authenticated. You can vacate voluntarily or be removed by force and face criminal charges. Your choice." Patricia's face went white, then red. The mask was cracking. "You've been spying on me." "Security cameras in our own home. Perfectly legal." "This is harassment. This is—" She looked at Tyler, standing at the back of the group. Her expression shifted to wounded betrayal. "Tyler, sweetheart, tell them. Tell them how close we've all been. Tell them your father needs me." Tyler's jaw clenched. "Don't call me sweetheart." "But—" "I know what you did. I know about the medal. I know about the other husbands. I know everything." His voice was shaking with anger. "And I'm here to make sure my dad gets away from you." Patricia stared at him, then back at me. The calculation behind her eyes was visible now, weighing options, searching for leverage, finding none. "Fine, fine, but your father comes with me." "That's his choice. Wake him up." We waited in the living room while Patricia went to rouse my father. The furniture was still rearranged, her version, not ours. The photos still missing from the mantel. It felt like someone else's house. Mark stood close to me, his presence grounding. Tyler paced near the window. Marcus reviewed documents. Officer Mendez stood by the door, hand resting casually near his radio. Voices from the guest room. Patricia sharp and urgent. My father's confused and frightened. Then they emerged. My father looked like he'd aged 10 years, hollow-eyed, stooped, swimming in a t-shirt that hung off his thinning frame. He looked at me, and I saw it, the moment of recognition, of shame, of understanding that whatever Patricia had told him about this situation was a lie. "Son," he said hoarsely. "Dad." Patricia gripped his arm. "Tell them, Paul. Tell them we're staying. Tell them this is our home too." My father looked at his hand on his arm, at the papers in Marcus's hands, at Tyler standing by the window, at me. "I don't—" he swallowed. "I don't understand what's happening." "I'll explain, but first Patricia needs to leave." "Patricia! Patricia!" My voice cut through hers. "You have 2 hours. Pack your things and go. We can do this civilly, or Officer Mendez can escort you immediately. Choose." She looked around the room, 5 men, all standing between her and any exit that didn't involve complete surrender. The calculation finished. She'd lost. "You're going to regret this," she said quietly. "All of you." 2 hours, Officer Mendez repeated. She released my father's arm and stalked to the guest room. We heard drawers slamming, zippers jerking, the sounds of furious packing. My father stood frozen in the center of the room, arms wrapped around himself. Tyler moved first, crossed the room and put his hand on our father's shoulder. "Dad, it's okay. We're here." "I don't—" "She said—" Dad's voice cracked. "She said you both hated me, that you never wanted to see me again, that I'd ruined everything with you." "She lied," Tyler said gently. My father looked at me. "The medal, your grandfather's medal. She told me you said I could sell it. She said you didn't care about that stuff anymore." The tightness in my chest returned. She lied about that too. "Oh God." He was crying now, deep, shaking sobs. "What have I done? What have I let her do?" Tyler guided him to the couch, sat beside him. "It's not your fault, Dad. She manipulated you. She manipulated all of us." I wanted to feel anger, wanted to hold on to the years of silence, the betrayal, the pain. But looking at my father, this broken, confused old man who'd been slowly poisoned against his own children, I just felt tired. And maybe, somewhere underneath, relief. "We'll talk," I said. "After she's gone, we'll talk. But Dad, you need to know, you can't stay here either, not permanently." He nodded, wiping his eyes. "I understand. I understand. I don't have anywhere else to go." "We'll figure it out," Tyler said, looking at me, a question in his eyes. I nodded. We'd figure it out. Patricia emerged an hour later with 3 suitcases in a garment bag. Her face was a mask of cold fury, all pretense of charm gone. I want compensation for my time, for my contributions to this household. Marcus didn't even look up from his phone. You're lucky we're not pressing charges. Leave. I have rights. You have the right to leave voluntarily, Officer Mendez stepped forward, or I can arrest you for trespassing. Clock's ticking, ma'am. She grabbed her bags, looked at my father one last time. Paul, come with me. Don't let them do this to us. My father didn't move, didn't even look at her. Paul! No, he said quietly. I'm not going with you. Something flickered across her face, maybe genuine shock that her hold had finally broken. Then it hardened into contempt. Fine, rot here with your self-righteous sons. See if I care. She hauled her bags toward the door, stopped in front of me. You think you've won? You think this is over? It's over, I said. I'll sue. I'll tell everyone how you threw a disabled elderly couple onto the street. I'll ruin you. You can try. Marcus cleared his throat. Miss Lowell, I should inform you that any further contact with my clients, any defamatory statements, or any attempt to enter this property will result in immediate legal action. We have documented evidence of your criminal activities. I'd suggest you consult an attorney and move on with your life. Patricia glared at Marcus, then at me. Then she smiled, cold and sharp. You're just like your grandfather, rigid, unforgiving, alone. I'm nothing like you, I said. She left. We watched through the window as she loaded her SUV, slammed the hatch, and peeled out of the driveway fast enough to leave rubber on the pavement. Gone. Officer Mendez exhaled. Well, that was something. Thank you for being here, I said. Part of the job, though I gotta say, not usually this satisfying. He shook my hand, then Mark's. You two take care. Get those locks changed again. Already scheduled, Mark said. After Mendez left, Marcus packed up his briefcase. I'll file the restraining order this afternoon. If she contacts you at all, let me know immediately. Document everything. I will. He paused at the door. You did good, man. Not many people have the discipline to handle something like this the right way. Learned from the best. He smiled. Hooah. Hooah. Then it was just the 4 of us. Me, Mark, Tyler, and our father. The silence was heavy. My father sat on the couch, hands folded in his lap, looking at nothing. Tyler sat beside him, uncertain. Marcus disappeared into the kitchen. I heard the coffee maker start, the sounds of normalcy returning. I sat in the chair across from my father, waited. I'm sorry, he said finally. I'm so sorry for all of it. The metal, the silence, bringing her here, for being weak. You were manipulated. I let myself be manipulated. I chose her over you, over both of you. He looked at Tyler, then at me. I chose comfort over truth, chose the easy lie over the hard conversation. You're my father. I should have protected you. The words I'd wanted to hear for 4 years, they should have felt like vindication. Instead, they just felt sad. Why? I asked. Why did you let it get this far? He was quiet for a long time. After your mother died, I was lost, completely lost. Then Patricia came along, and she was so certain about everything. It was easier to let her make decisions, easier to believe her version of things than face my own failures. He looked at his hands. She said you didn't want anything to do with me, that you were angry about the medal, about how I'd moved on from your mother. And I believed her, because part of me thought I deserved it, deserved to lose you. You didn't deserve it, Tyler said quietly. No, but I let it happen anyway. Dad looked at me. Your grandfather would be ashamed of me. Grandpa would want you to do better, starting now. He nodded slowly. I don't know how. One step at a time. Mark brought with coffee, set a mug for each of us. The normalcy of it, coffee in our living room, morning light through the windows, felt almost surreal after the chaos. So now what? Tyler asked. Now, Dad gets help, real help, therapy, maybe a support group for people who've been in abusive relationships, and he finds his own place, somewhere safe, somewhere Patricia can't find him. I can help with that, Tyler said quickly. He can stay with me for a while. I have space. My father was startled.
You'd do that? Of course I would. You're my dad. More tears. Dad wiped them away impatiently. I don't deserve either of you. Probably not, but you're getting us anyway. A ghost of a smile crossed his face. We spent the rest of the morning cleaning, taking down Patricia's generic art prints and finding our wedding photos in a box in the garage, moving furniture back to where it belonged, changing the locks again, erasing her presence one piece at a time. Tyler found the emergency cash envelope in my office. The half that Patricia had stolen was gone, but he insisted on replacing it from his own wallet. I profited from that medal. This is the least I can do. You were a kid. You didn't know. I'm not a kid anymore, and I know now. I took the money. Thank you. My father helped where he could, slowly, carefully, like he was learning how to inhabit space again. At one point, I found him standing in front of the grandfather clock, running his hand over the wood. I remember when Dad got this, he said quietly. He was so proud, bought it with his first paycheck after coming back from Korea. He wound it every Sunday morning without fail. I wind it every Sunday too. He looked at me. He'd be glad it's with you. I wish I'd had the medal too. I know. I'm gonna try to find it, track down whoever bought it, see if I can get it back. Dad, you don't have to. Yes, I do. I do. His voice was firm for the first time all day. Let me do this one thing right. I nodded. By evening, the house felt like ours again. Tyler had helped Dad pack up his belongings. Not much, just some clothes and toiletries. They stood by the door, Tyler's truck waiting outside. This isn't forever, I said. This isn't estrangement. We just need time, all of us. I understand, and I'll earn my way back, however long it takes. No earning required, just honesty, just showing up. He hugged me, awkward, uncertain, but real. I love you, son. I should have said it more, should have shown it better. Love you too, Dad. Tyler hugged me next. Thank you for not giving up on him, on us. Family doesn't give up, even when it's hard.
Especially when it's hard. They left. Mark and I stood in the doorway, watching Tyler's taillights disappear down the street. Then we closed the door, locked it, stood in our reclaimed space. It's quiet, Mark said. Yeah. Good quiet? Good quiet. He pulled me close. We stood there in the entryway, the same entryway Patricia had invaded days ago, and just breathed. You did it, Mark said. You defended your ground. We did it. Okay, we did it. He pulled back, looked at me. So what now? Now we live our lives, quietly, without drama, without invasion. Sounds boring. Sounds perfect. He smiled. Hooah. I laughed, actually laughed. Don't start. Too late. I'm a military spouse now. It's in the handbook. We moved through the house, turning off lights, checking locks, the rituals of ending a day. Except this day had ended something bigger. A chapter, maybe. A war. In bed, Mark fell asleep almost immediately, exhausted. I lay awake longer, listening to the house settle, the grandfather clock ticking in the hallway. Patience is a weapon. Clarity, not anger. Winning by protecting what matters. I'd done all of that, and more importantly, I'd done it the right way. No rage, no revenge, just boundaries, truth, and the steady application of force where it was needed. My phone buzzed, a text from Tyler. Dad settled in. He's okay. We're okay. Thank you. I typed back. Thank you for showing up. Always. From now on, always. I set the phone down and closed my eyes. Outside, the night was quiet. Inside, the house was ours again. Mission complete. 3 months later. The therapy was helping. Dad came to dinner every other week. Awkward at first, then slowly easier. He talked about Patricia sometimes, with his counselor's guidance, unpacking years of manipulation. He was learning to recognize the patterns, the red flags he'd ignored. Tyler came too. He and Mark got along like they'd known each other for years. Sometimes I'd find them in the garage, Tyler helping Mark with some project, both of them laughing. Patricia tried to contact me once, an email through a new address, claiming she'd been hasty and misunderstood, wanted to start fresh. Marcus sent her a cease and desist. We never heard from her again. The metal search was ongoing. Dad had hired a private investigator, determined to track it down. I told him it didn't matter, that I'd made peace with it, but I let him try anyway. It mattered to him. Mark and I fell back into our routine. Work, home, the quiet life we'd built. But something had shifted. We were more aware of our boundaries now, more protective of our peace. We'd learned what we were capable of defending. One Sunday morning, I wound the grandfather clock, the ritual I'd inherited from my grandfather, passed down through generations. Mark came up behind me, wrapped his arms around my waist. "You know what I just realized?" he said. "What?" "You never told me the end of that story, the one your grandmother mentioned, that keepsake." I smiled. "There is no story, just a title for something that never happened. Maybe we should write it ourselves, our version." "Maybe we should." The clock chimed. The house, our house, echoed with it, clear and strong and ours. We'd defended it. We'd won. And now, finally, we could just live.